Hi Rajni.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, thank you so much for asking. A bit
Mhm.
occupied and enjoying the wedding season actually. That is why I'm a
Okay.
bit occupied and confused too.
I can see
But
Mehendi in your hand, so it seems like you had a wedding in the family or something.
yes, tonight itself I have to go after this session. I have to just get ready and go there. So
Okay.
simultaneously trying to just maintain the momentum of work too. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
have you been doing?
I've been good. I've been good.
That's lovely to know. So after so long, we are connecting again, and in November itself, many people have joined me recently. Like they have subscribed my channel again. New
Okay.
people, and
Mm-hmm.
they I guess don't know about you. They are going to see for the very first time on my YouTube channel. Around more than 10,000 subscribers now have joined
Okay.
recently. So,
Okay.
first, I want you to give your introduction, like who is Anushri actually and what she does.
Yeah, yeah. So hi, I'm Anushri. I live in Bangalore and I'm the founder of a education company called Sparky. Sparky is a generative AI companion for spoken English fluency. So it's an app that users can talk to an AI friend and practice their English and get feedback, etc. So I run this company. I've been running this for about 4 years now. Before this, we used to also offer online classes. And before that, I've worked in Swiggy and I've worked in a media company and I did my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. I have 13 years of work experience after my MBA.
Wow. So it means you have observed everyone thoroughly as you have a lot of experience now. So you know what is the need actually, and that is why you are able to generate this power AI based application, which is great. Okay, it's really great to know about you. So today I basically want to discuss with you a topic which I have seen puts people in a very awkward situation, which is while having
Hmm.
conversation they run out of things to say in it, right? So how to
Hmm.
never
Hmm.
run out of things during a conversation?
Yeah.
That is
So I
what.
think
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting question, and there are sort of tips and tricks of things you can do. But I think before getting to the tips and tricks, I think my higher level sort of suggestion to people would be don't be so conscious about now what will I say, now what will I say. Like if you keep thinking about that, then you're not actually paying attention to the conversation. And conversations are things that sort of flow naturally and it'll flow naturally if you are attentive and you're listening to the person who's talking to you. And maybe two things: you have to listen to the person who you're talking to, and you have to be curious, right? Like everybody loves to talk about themselves, right? Like
Mhm.
if you ask me about my family or my work or my interests or my past life, everyone loves to tell stories about themselves, right? So for you as a person, you should listen to what the person is saying and you should be curious, you should be interested. If you are interested in the other person, it shows automatically, right? Like if you meet somebody, even an old friend, etc., like so much has happened in their life, you have so much to know about them. Even if you meet a stranger, there's so much to know about them, right? So
Yeah.
I think that is the highest level thing I would say, listen to the conversation, be present in the conversation, and be curious about the other person, right? I think.
Mhm.
But if maybe we'll share some tricks which are easy to do and more specific, so that sometimes people are stressed, so they can use these tricks, right? So I think
Mhm.
a very easy trick is something called mirroring. And
Mhm.
mirroring is basically just repeating what the other person said in a way that makes them feel encouraged to talk more about it. Right? So suppose you say that, I just came back from a vacation. I can just say, oh, you came back from a vacation. Then you will basically say,
Mhm.
yeah, I had gone to Shimla with my family and this happened and we did this, etc. Right? So it gives you an opening to elaborate more about what you said, right?
Mhm.
And you can use this in many ways. Like someone's like, I'm very stressed at work. So you're like, oh, you're very stressed at work. I mean, you don't have to repeat exactly the same words, but you
Mhm.
can also repeat exactly the same words in a manner of seeking to understand more about it. right? So that person will
Mm.
automatically tell you, they're like, oh, I, just came back from playing football. So you're like, oh, you play football, right? Then they'll tell you, yeah, I try to go every Sunday, or, I
Mhm.
play with this group from my college, whatever, right? So I think this is a very easy trick of mirroring, and
Mm.
this is something that this is a trick they teach you in negotiation. In
Mhm.
negotiation, basically, you want the other person to open up more and more information about their side. You want them to open their cards. So you use mirroring as a technique to get them to speak more. So I
Mhm.
think this is very simple to do when people feel stuck and they don't know what to say. This is a very easy thing to do also for them. And
Mm.
related to this is basically depending on what the person is saying. If you're showing interest in their life, you can ask questions about it. Like if you say, "Oh, I came back from a vacation," they'll be like, "Oh, where did you go? And do you enjoy X type of vacation? Y type of vacation? Do you whatever?" Right? So you will learn more things about them. They'll say, "Yeah, I went for a vacation with my kids." They'll go, "Oh, you have kids? How old are your kids?" Or whatever. Right? So one thing leads
Mm.
to another, and that's
Absolutely.
how conversations get built up.
Mm.
Or maybe you have some tricks to add, then I can come back and add some more.
Sure. So that shows your curiosity. And here are
Yeah.
like a few other skills which we can say. First, it shows like you are curious. Second, you are listening to them attentively. Third, you are interested to know about themselves. Right. And
Hmm.
fourth thing, if somebody shares something which is relatable to your own journey too, and relatable
Yeah.
to your own life, like whether it is about job or whether it is about personal life, or whether it is about changing your job, or whether it is about just that you are planning to go out and travel and all things. So if you are
Hmm.
meeting somebody for the very first time, or somebody is new to you, so the common topics which is like travel, interest, hobbies, and what they do, why they do, so that
Yeah.
broadens up your thought process itself, right? So
Hmm.
then you don't run out of things. So
Yeah.
because when you don't talk much, when you don't open up, when you don't show the curiosity to ask questions and to indulge in it, even I can share, like if you are in a group of people, and if other people are talking to each other, and you are not into the conversation entirely, but you should be attentive enough to observe them. The observation is again the great thing. So there you are observing first by sitting beside them, and you are just looking at them. You are grabbing their expressions, you are getting to know, okay, these were the stuff they did there if they visited some places, or what were the things they should not do and avoid doing in meetings,
Yeah.
in like whatever the topic is related to job or real life or other scenario. That observation also gives you the power to connect with people easily and
Yeah.
understand them well. So these are
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
things I found useful. When you are in a conversation, you should show the curiosity and should be relatable, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think a very good point on, common topics, because in a conversation, you may not be the only one who's nervous. The other person also could be nervous, right? So they may also be feeling like that. And when two people feel awkward, it's the worst thing, right? If one person is awkward and one person is natural, then at least
Mm.
that person will carry it. But if both are awkward, then you
Mm.
get stuck. So
Mhm.
common topics is something that is good for you because you have things to say about it also, and it's
Mm.
also good for that other person, right? It puts them at ease. They can relate to you. They sort of think that you are like them, etc., right? So it makes them easy, it makes you easy. It's a very
Mm.
no stress conversation to have. And when you said observation, right? I think one thing that is also useful is just observing things around you, right? Like, so if I'm looking at you right now, I can see there's a bookshelf behind you, right? I
Mm.
can use that as a topic starter, right? I can say, oh, do you
Yes.
like to read? Are these your books, or they belong to your somebody else in your family? And be like,
Mm.
oh, tell me what are your favorite books? I'm looking for some recommendations. Or so you'll start
Mm.
talking. You'll say, oh, my favorite book is this book, it's written about this topic, and that gives you more things. Or I can say there's a trophy behind you. I can say, oh, is that a sports trophy, or whose trophy is that? Did you win this trophy? So there are lots of
Yeah.
things. When you're curious and when you're observant, you'll
Mm.
automatically find these areas to start talking with, right?
Mm.
And what we see is, in Sparky also, Sparky, if users use Sparky to practice English speaking, they will
Mm.
see how Sparky carries the conversation forward, right? You say something and Sparky will respond to you, and Sparky will ask you a relevant question. So
Mhm.
then you will answer that question, and then you'll say something, Sparky will take that conversation ahead. So if
Mm.
you should also observe how Sparky talks, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't know anything about you. It's an AI, right? But it
Hmm.
takes what you are saying and creates conversation based on that, such that it is useful to you, relevant to you,
Hmm.
interesting for you. Similarly, that is what you can do with people you're talking to.
Yes.
Yeah. I think another thing which people might find hard, but I think if you give yourself the freedom, it'll come to you naturally, is humor, right? I think
Hmm.
humor works very, very well, in conversations, especially if you're meeting someone for the first time, or, you don't know each other very well. If you can bring in a little bit of humor, and, people have thoughts in their head, but they don't think that this is someone I'm just meeting. How can I crack a joke? Or it might feel like a serious meeting, right? Like, but we've seen this even in things like you're giving a presentation in a big conference, right? At a
Hmm.
very serious occasion, you're talking about something serious, you're talking about some professional thing, etc. But if you crack a joke and your audience laughs, right? And it could be something very simple, right? It doesn't have
Hmm.
to be like a joke. It's just a remark that is funny, and
Hmm.
the audience suddenly starts to love you. They're just like
Hmm.
they start to like you as a person. Or even if like I do this, I meet investors sometimes, which is a serious meeting. It's a very professional meeting, and these are people
Hmm.
who I don't know. They're not my friends, and I'm only meeting them for one meeting. I'll probably not meet them again. But even there, like if you crack a small joke, it could be about anything about, it could be about something about traffic, or it could be about, how cold it is, or anything, right?
Hmm.
It just puts that whole atmosphere at an ease. Right?
Hmm. It
Everyone
lightens
relaxes.
up.
It
Hmm.
lightens up the atmosphere, and everyone relaxes, and it's
Hmm.
just easier to connect after that. So
Yeah.
if you don't have to prepare a joke, please don't prepare a joke and go
It
because
comes
the idea
naturally. Hmm.
yes, the idea is not to tell them a joke. The idea is that whatever conversation, whatever circumstance you're in, if you can add some humor, then that's
Hmm.
something that is, it really helps the relationship.
But again, I feel that this is a kind of a skill
Hmm.
which comes naturally and over time when you are a great
Yeah.
observer and consume a lot of content. Because, yes, like I do conversations with many people, and sometimes I got this from my audience that it is becoming now a little monotonous to watch conversations every day. Right. So
Hmm.
somebody suggested me to bring the humor in your videos a bit so people can laugh and people can enjoy even more. So I
Yeah.
started watching a lot of different content, even comedy
Yeah.
related, even a lot of shows, different shows where, while giving the feedback and while talking to the person, they say these kind of small stuff where people laugh and people enjoy that moment. So this is again,
Hmm.
I know personally I am doing it. I'm trying to do it. I still not able to bring that, but that requires a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
practice
it's not,
and
humor is,
observation.
I think, humor is the most difficult thing.
Hmm.
And I mean, for you, it's still, different because you're recording yourself, right? But in a
Hmm.
conversation, there are some things sometimes that if you were with your family or with your friends, you would have laughed at something,
Yeah.
right? In
Hmm.
in an awkward situation or where you're feeling stressed, you may
Hmm.
think that I can't do this. But
Hmm.
just feel that ease. If you feel like if you were with your close people, if there was something that would have made you laugh, then that is a laugh you can share with anyone, even if it's a
Yeah.
stranger.
Yeah.
Usually they will, it's very, very rare that anyone minds,
Hmm.
a good laugh.
Hmm.
Basically, I'm just saying don't try to crack it, but if something comes to your mind, just
Come.
feel
Yeah.
like you can do it. So I think
Oh,
that's an
that's
important thing.
I have done multiple times, and I do in my own mother tongue or Hindi. I'm able to do, but I'm not able to do
Huh.
still in English. That's the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's a matter of sometimes it will come to you, sometimes it won't. You can't
Hmm.
always force it also.
Hmm.
But I think these are some of the sort of things to keep in mind. Other than that, I think you should really actually, I feel like people who are good conversationalists are people who are curious and interested, right?
Hmm.
Want to know about you. And you can ask open-ended questions about people, right? Like if you ask very specific questions, then the conversation runs out, right? Like if you
Hmm.
ask which school do you go to, which college do you go to, the person will say one line, I go to, XYZ college, and
Hmm.
that's all, right? But
Yeah.
maybe you want to ask a more open-ended questions like what are you studying, and what are you working towards, what is the kind
Hmm.
of career you want, etc., right? And this is the type of stuff that people will talk more openly, or they'll say, okay, who
Hmm.
all I know family, and or how long have you lived in Delhi? How come you shifted to Delhi? What brought you here?
Mm.
What do you like being here? These are more open-ended questions, which is not a one-word answer, right? So
Mm.
it is a conversation starter. It's not an interrogation. If you like,
Mm.
people might think by being curious, I'm like, oh, how many years old are you? How many kids do you have? What
Mm.
job do you do? But that's like an interrogation. You're just asking
Yes.
questions, questions, questions.
Mm.
That's not enjoyable for the person
Mm.
also. So
Mm.
asking more open-ended questions gives them the opportunity to speak about their lives, to speak about their opinions and thoughts. You can ask them about their opinions on
Mm.
whatever, right? Like, oh, these elections are going on. Did you vote this time? And what do
Mm.
you think about X or Y? Or maybe politics is not something you want to discuss. You can talk about
Mm.
something else.
Mm.
A lot of people talk about the entertainment they watch, right? Like if you're watching a show, if you just saw a movie,
Yeah.
those are just very easy topics to start talking about. And
Mm.
as you become more easy in your conversation, then you can maybe reach to more personal questions about that person, etc. But don't make
Mm.
it an interrogation. Okay, I have to ask questions, so I'm going to shoot questions at you.
Mm.
That's not a conversation.
Hmm. I agree. It becomes more easier when when you are meeting for the very person for the very first time. But when you get to know their interest also are the similar to yours. When you
Yeah.
open up a little bit, you get to know, okay, he also loves reading books and I also love. Then we go into the
Hmm.
zone, what kind of books do you read? And then we go
Yeah.
talk about the authors. Okay, which author do you follow the most, or which author's writing you like the most? And then
Yeah.
similarly, when it comes to watching movies and web series, and then same with travel, if a person loves traveling a lot, solo, with
Hmm.
group, with company, which places they visited and what they like the most. And similarly, if you are in the interested in history and all these things, so when you
Yeah.
even talk a bit, that gives the idea what kind of the person is
Yeah.
and what are their interest. And once you know
Yeah.
the interest, and then it becomes easier for you to relate and then ask further questions.
See, I think the other thing that people get, stressed by is when their English is not good, right? They're not fully
Mm.
fluent or confident in English and they're trying to get better. But in conversation, they sometimes get very worried about how is my grammar? Will that other person laugh at me, right? So, what are your suggestions or what have you heard from your users about those types of circumstances where they're not confident about their language and that's why they
Mm.
can't have a good conversation?
Hmm. That is relatable. I know many beginners who are very
Hmm.
conscious about their grammatical mistakes, and at the same time, the environment around them, like they don't have people first, and if they
Hmm.
start speaking, people start judging them on
Hmm.
based on their skills and on their grammatical mistakes. So this is the biggest challenge. Like they are initially not able to speak properly, and then it becomes difficult to just speak at length, or speak take the conversation forward, because they are
Yeah.
nervous, they have fear, and again, as you mentioned, that they are conscious about the grammatical mistakes too. And
Hmm.
second category of people I know, which are maybe intermediates, and they are talking to people already, they are practicing on regular basis with other co-learners. But the complaint
Hmm.
which I got from many learners is that whenever they connect to people, they are going to repeat the same things, like first introduction and then how they learned English and what they do in it. So this
Hmm.
becomes repetitive. So they want to grow, they want to broaden up the conversation so they can discuss other topics too. So I want you to
Yeah.
give I want you to guide us how Sparky can add value in this, and Sparky can help people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we'll show a little video so that people understand how Sparky works. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just see a quick video and then I can come back and answer this question on how this works.
Sure.
Introducing Sparky, your voice first AI friend for building spoken English fluency. Sparky is a friendly fox you can speak in English with even if you don't speak well.
Here's an example. It's raining cats and dogs means it's raining heavily. Can you think of any other idiom you'd like to learn about?
Each conversation is designed to give you practice on specific language concepts or topics relevant to your life. Sparky keeps the conversation going so it never gets boring. and helps and supports learners. If you're stuck for words, Sparky suggests what you could say. If you don't understand something Sparky said, you can easily see the meaning and even translate it to a language of your choice. Want to hear something again? You can just hit replay. You can also choose the accent and speed for Sparky's voice.
Hello. Would you like me to speak faster or slower or in a different style?
Sparky gently corrects you and also shares feedback on everything you say.
I did not got invited for my friend's birthday and I'm very sad. I didn't knew she did not want to be friends with me.
Oh no, I'm Over time, it creates your personalized learning path to give you more practice on the specific mistakes that you make. If you don't feel like always talking, you can try out some fun interactive games designed to build vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar. You can also read stories and articles with Sparky, and Sparky will highlight the mispronounced words in red. Users see Sparky as a friend and enjoy talking to it.
I want to share a few things with you. Like in friendship, I always try to put my efforts in my all possible best ways. Then also, I am always being treated like an option. What to do about it?
Very soon, underconfident, struggling learners gain confidence, get over the stress and embarrassment, and begin to have meaningful conversations about things important to them. This So basically, now you have an idea of how conversation with Sparky works, right? So if you're someone in the first category where you don't have anyone to talk to, which is why you're not able to think of the words, you're not able to speak at length because that practice is not there, right? Sparky is your practice partner. You can talk to Sparky. Sparky will also give you feedback on your mistakes. So it's okay to make mistakes, right? Users or people feel uncomfortable making mistakes in front of humans because they feel like they'll be judged, they'll be laughed at. But you should not worry at all about making mistakes with Sparky. Making mistakes is fine. Sparky doesn't laugh at you. Sparky continues talking. Sparky gives you feedback, in fact, on the mistakes you make, right? So that's a very good way to practice conversation. You'll also observe how Sparky continues conversations, right? So I think that's for the first category. Just speak to Sparky, and automatically over time you will get the confidence that I'm actually able to think. If you're not able to think, Sparky will also give suggestions, right? But as you keep doing it, we see that our users realize that they actually know more than they thought they knew, right? When you're in that position where English is the only language you're allowed to talk in, and you're going to talk to this bot who's not going to laugh at you, so you don't have to worry. You can try, right? So people, when they try, they realize they're actually better than they thought that they are, right?
Yeah.
For the second category of people where they're like, okay, it's getting repetitive. Every time I talk to someone, I'm, introducing myself, and the same things are coming out. Which city are you in? Why are you a student? Are you working? What do you do? How did you learn English? So, and because of this, what happens is you also don't build vocabulary about other things, right? The more topics you talk about, you will build vocabulary, and you will also get practice to speak about other things and be able to use your own learnings that you've had from before into those conversations, right? So the good thing with Sparky is Sparky has many conversations that we've designed about, like 200 300 conversations are already there in the Sparky product, where you can talk about different things. You can talk about travel, you can talk about family, you can talk about your feelings, you can talk about career and what work you want to do, you can talk about music, so all sorts of things, right? You can talk to Sparky about these, which are conversations we have designed based on what people usually find interesting to talk in. But if you have something else in your mind, right? Usually we feel like sometimes people can't come up with ideas. Every day, how will you come up with a new idea? Okay, today let's talk about this, right? So then Sparky does the job where Sparky has a lot of ideas to talk about. But if you have a specific idea, you can also do that. That you say, okay, today I want to talk about cooking paneer makhni. right?
Mm.
I mean, it can be as specific as that. It could be something else. I want to learn about Paris. I want to go to Paris. I
Mm.
want to know what all is there. Or, anything like that, right? I want to know about, we've seen people talking to Sparky about, tell me about diabetes. How does blood sugar work? Which kinds of
Oh.
foods
They're taking
create a
personal help. True.
Yes, so you can also ask for help because Sparky has all this knowledge. But what I
Mm.
mean to say is that it can be something very specific, which you may not find someone else who wants to talk about that, right? Or you might also have a
Mm.
job which is very specific, right? You might be a doctor,
Yes.
or you might be a lawyer, you might be working in
Mm.
software development. Now, you'd want to talk about those types of topics because that's what you need to talk at work. But your
Mm.
co-learners are not talking about those topics. So
Mm.
Sparky can talk about all of these topics. So it's a great practice ground for people. You can learn new vocabulary about different topics. You can translate the words if you don't understand. You can save the words also so that you can refer
Mm.
to it later. So it's a pretty good way to get practice of, more types of conversations that you're able to have.
That's interesting that you brought more than 200 topics because what happens if we connect to co-learners, maybe they have the knowledge or they have the experience of a lot of things, but when it comes to discuss all the things in English, they are also there to learn and practice, so maybe they are not able to deliver the content. So here
Yeah.
Sparky can deliver like according to your own level and whatever the structure you want, if intermediate, advanced, beginner, in the same manner you get. But when it comes to people, that's a little difficult, especially for learners, because on different applications where people are practicing with each other, that is limited, like limited things they are going to discuss because of
Yeah,
the
and the
language
thing is,
barrier.
your co-learner is also not perfect at English. So sometimes you
Hmm.
will pick up their mistakes, or
Especially
sometimes
feedback you don't get there.
you don't get feedback on your
Hmm.
mistakes, right? So those are the
Hmm.
things that we have solved for with Sparky. You'll get feedback, you will hear the right things, you will hear new words or new
Hmm.
types of topics that you have not done before. So it does all the hard work for you, and you have to just be there. You just have
Be
to
there.
commit to
Hmm.
just open the app, do 10-15 minutes of practice a day. If you want to do more, you can.
Hmm.
Actually, people ask us this every time we say, you can do 15 minutes a day. People say, oh, but I want to do more. I was like, of course you can do more. You can do as much as you want.
Yeah.
But what we say for 10-15 minutes a day is that regular practice.
Regular
Keep it regular.
practices. Hmm.
So, yeah, so you just have to show up. And Sparky does all the hard work of thinking of what to
Hmm.
talk about, carrying the conversation forward. Conversation doesn't end. Sparky
Hmm.
keeps thinking of new things to talk about, etc., and gives you feedback. You learn new vocabulary, etc. So,
Hmm.
they should try it.
Absolutely, yes. In this case, I think vocabulary also plays a vital role. As you mentioned, that when you discuss on a particular topic, Sparky brings new vocabulary, describing even the same content, same questions, or saying giving the same
Mm.
answers. It tries to bring new vocabulary in a different way. That is
Yeah.
again essential because when you discuss the same topics with co-learners, I know many YouTubers also that they say they talk every day with people, but they are not able to build their vocabulary and broaden their knowledge on
Mm.
different topics. So, vocabulary, again, I think when you practice in Sparky, that's a big help without any extra effort. Like you are just
Yeah.
practicing their speaking, but at the same time, the Sparky is bringing new vocabulary. So, simultaneously, your subconscious is trying to get,
Yeah.
and
And
at the
it is
same,
a easy way
Mhm.
to save it, right? Like if you see a new word, you can
Mm.
go and sort of click on that word and you can save it to your personal dictionary. So
Mhm.
10 days later, if you want to see, okay, what were the new words I learned, you want to revise them, or you want to
Mm.
keep it in mind that I should start using these words in my conversation, you can
Mm.
go and easily refer to it.
Yes, yeah. While talking to people, we forget what the person used and how it used. Actually, the uses of vocabulary is again essential. Many people have, knowledge, or many people have bunch of words in their dictionary, but they are not able to use because they don't know how to
Yeah.
use it properly in the context. That is
Right.
again a big issue. But subconsciously, maybe the uses of the word in
Yes.
Sparky. Mm,
Yes,
great.
yes. And you can sort of see it later and save it. And so it's a good way to revise and keep building your collection of vocabulary there
Mhm.
and try to use it.
Okay, so since a lot of people are new there, so can you just describe about the pricing and all, how and
Yeah.
probably there? Yes.
Yeah, so Sparky is very affordable. If you take a monthly plan, we have monthly plans, we have 3 monthly plans, 6 monthly plans. If you take a monthly plan, it's 250 rupees a month. And if you
Mm-hmm.
take a longer 3 month or a 6 month plan, it's even cheaper than that. So like a long plan is usually about like 100 to 120 rupees a month. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very, very cheap and you can use it every day. You can use it for as long as you want. You want to do 1 hour every day, you want to do 15 minutes every day, that's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of all of this is included in this one subscription that you get grammar, you get vocabulary. There are even games to practice spelling, game to practice vocabulary. So all of these is part of the subscription, and it's a very affordable subscription for people. I would suggest that language learning takes time. You can take a 1 month plan, but if you take a longer plan, I think that much time is required to get good. And the longer plan is even cheaper. So that's
Yeah.
what I would recommend to people. But you can try it for free. So you can
Mm.
download the app, you can try it for like 20, 30 minutes. You can talk to Sparky, you can see if you are feeling comfortable, if it's helpful for you, and then
Mm.
decide to subscribe to it if you like.
Absolutely. So we can say it is the amalgamation of every aspect, even in a fun manner, as you mentioned that spelling
Yeah.
games and all. Uh,
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so I would highly recommend everyone, people who have complaints that they forget things in the conversation, or they don't have the environment, or they don't get the feedback, or they don't have people. A lot of things you will get at the same time. You will be able to build your vocabulary and broaden your knowledge. So you should go and download this Sparky application and try it. And I would also recommend you to go with the longer period of time, because it takes time and you need to be there for a long period of time if you want to really be fluent and proficient at English. So you will get the link to in the description box. From there you can download and then you should leverage it. So Anushri ma'am, it was really lovely talking to you. My mind is occupied today.
Yeah,
Looking
I
at
think
the time.
you're excited about the wedding you have to go for.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so yes, thank you so much for connecting to me today and for sharing about Sparky. This will definitely help people out there.
Okay, my pleasure. My pleasure being here on your channel, and have a good time at the wedding, and all the best to all your learners in your journey to fluency. Keep practicing regularly, and you should know that you know more than you think you know, right? Like only
True.
when you try, then you will know
Hmm.
that how much you can do.
Do
So you have
not.
to give
Mhm.
yourself the freedom and the opportunity to try without the hesitation and the embarrassment that you have. Sparky is
Mm.
one way to do it. If you have other ways, that is also good. But just keep speaking, and it's not very difficult. You'll get there if you keep doing it.
And it is the
So all
right time to just practice with a very, affordable price where you can just achieve the
yeah,
fluency, achieve the results you desire for.
yeah.
Yeah, okay then. Thank you so much. Have a great evening
Thank
ahead.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rajni. All right, bye.
Bye.